One of my biggest gaming sins over my many years of gaming is that I had never played a Final Fantasy game. I have rectified this as a 2026 New Year's resolution, completing Final Fantasy XVI and now Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I preface this review by pointing out that because of this sin, I have never played the original Final Fantasy VII, and so the story, characters and world are all completely new to me. With this game's recent drop on new platforms, I decided to check it out and see if this title, which is highly regarded amongst the masses, truly is worth the hype. What's up? How's it going? Welcome to Casual Gamer Reviews. If you want to support the channel, then please leave a like and subscribe, or even share it with your friends. If you don't like it, then leave a thumbs down and let me know how I can be better for you. I played the Intergrade version of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it took me 40 hours for completion. Reviewed on Xbox Series X. I would best describe Final Fantasy VII Remake as an action JRPG. There are elements of both Western and Japanese RPGs existing at its heart. How this translates to gameplay is a combat system that is both action and strategy turn-based. This unique hybrid style is one that captivated me, and I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I really enjoyed my time with it. The setup is that you will have a party that consists of anywhere between 1 and 3 members, which will constantly change throughout the story as different narrative beats occur. This is another massive positive for me, as it gives you variance due to each character having pretty distinct fighting styles. When the combat encounter initiates, you'll be in control of one of the party members and you engage in free-flowing action combat. There is a light attack and a special heavy attack mapped to the 2 face buttons. If your party consists of more than 1 member, you can freely switch between them whenever you want. The action can then be broken down with the tactical strategy elements. By pressing A, you can open a menu that will simultaneously slow down the combat to almost a complete stop, and allow you to choose some actions for any party member. This is where you can use items, use spells, and use abilities. As for what abilities and spells you can use, well, that comes down to the weapons, equipment, and materia. Your main party members in 7 Remake are Cloud, Tifa, Barret, and Aerith. Each of these have their own base stats and weapons that lean them towards a certain playstyle. Cloud is a balanced character that uses swords, but can also have a pretty good defense and magic affinity too. Tifa is super strong and fights with her fists, but doesn't have great magic stats. Barret has high defense and works with either ranged or close combat weapons, and Aerith is your typical support class with low physical attack and defense, but high magic ability in both healing and attack spells. Each of them can equip a weapon, an armor, and an accessory. Each of these have their own purpose that I'll get to in a minute, but first I want to talk about the abilities and spells. Other than stat boosting, the different equipment also have something called materia slots. Materia in this game are small orbs of power that grant you access to use abilities and spells. They range from things like your classic fire, ice and lightning spells to something more niche like an assess orb that allows you to see an enemy's resistances and weaknesses, or an increased HP orb which gives you a stat buff. There really is a large pool of these to try different builds. None of them are restricted to classes, so you can really chop and change as you like. It is worth bearing in mind that throughout the story there will be several times where the party makeup changes and you may be without a member for a while, so it is worth giving them a little bit of everything to cover your back. Abilities, items, and spells are tied to something called your ATB. This is a meter that fills up throughout a combat sequence and can be sped up when you deal damage or take damage. Each member has 2 ATB bars that can be filled. An item always costs 1 ATB, whereas the spells and abilities can cost 1 or 2, which will be outlined when you hover over them. In addition to ATB charges, materia that cast spells will require MP to use, whereas materia that allow you to use abilities don't. This is where the builds come into play again, as characters with magic affinity will tend to have a higher MP pool. When enemies are defeated, the team will receive XP, which will level up their character, but also AP, which will level up their currently equipped materia. Most materia have a tier system, and as they level up will unlock a stronger ability or spell. When a character levels up, they will gain increases to their base stats, but also skill points for their weapons. Skill points can also be earned or bought through certain side quests, but in very limited amounts. Skill points open up a whole new realm of possibilities as you spend them on a weapon to enhance someone into a particular build. Let's look at Aerith for example. I got her a staff that I could spend skill points on to not only raise her magic attack and defense, but unlock special abilities like Bloodsucker, which gave her the power to suck HP from an enemy when she kills them. Barrett had several unlocks for HP and base defense increases, which really makes him the brick shithouse he appears to be physically. I mean, come on, the guy is huge! All of these little systems of unlocking and upgrading are meshed together really well and were never confusing to interact with. It offers a huge amount of variety and enjoyable tinkering to enhance a combat system I already think is sublime. Your largest available source of power when it comes to combat is with summons and limit breaks. Limit breaks are ultimate moves that can be used when its bar fills up, and each character can have different ones to choose from. This bar does take a long time to fill, so it only really becomes a factor in boss fights or endurance challenges. The summons are slightly different and have to be found or unlocked. When I completed the game, I had 4 summons which I equipped one of to each party member. Summons do only come to play in boss fights and can be unleashed when they are primed. The 4 I had were drastically different, but each did have a base type for their attacks, so I'd want to use the most effective one for the foe I was facing. Summons will attack on their own, but you can spend ATB charges for them to do special moves. My favourite summon was the Fat Chocobo by far. What a chill and chubby dude. Your handling of these systems come to a head with boss fights, and there are many here in Remake. Almost every chapter has at least one, and a handful have multiple. I would say that approximately 80% of these fights were awesome, but one of the small criticisms I have for this game are with the other 20%. How many robot variations do we need? They did start to feel like the exact same fight in a different packaging when I saw some of these mechanical tyrants. This is an extremely small criticism though, as all the other bosses are the culmination of what makes this game so great. Epic, cinematic and challenging fights that pull at your emotions narratively and test your grasp of the combat system. Speaking of the challenge, there are a selection of difficulty options for this title, including a brand new one to coincide with this release on Xbox and Switch too. The ones offered at the outset are easy, easy classic, normal and normal classic. The classic variants switch the combat system to make your character automatically attack in the action bit, so you can focus on the tactical menus bit. Hard difficulty is unlocked once you complete the game for the first time, which is not something new to the series, but something I don't really understand in the modern era of gaming, especially for a relatively linear game. The new difficulty mode I was hinting at are the streamlined settings. This is not a difficulty setting per se, as these sliders can be activated on any difficulty level. They give you things like always doing 9,999 damage or always having full health. Its purpose is to give players a path through the game to experience the story if the rest is too challenging, and I like that idea. I found use for it when I was replaying chapters to get missing collectibles, so there's that benefit too. This game is not all combat though, and you will also be doing a fair share of traversal and even environmental puzzle solving. Movement in this game is very linear. There is no jump button, so you can only walk or run around. There will be environmental markers indicated by a blue arrow where you can perform a traversal action like jumping over something or sliding across it, which will be performed automatically on approach. I personally like this a lot as it made everything so stylish. The puzzles were enjoyable for the most part, like a level in the sewers where you have to move water about to progress by opening the sewage grates, or the dance off at the Honeybee Inn, which was one of my favourite moments of the whole game. This one is technically not a puzzle but an interactive encounter nonetheless. However, there is one involving mechanical arms in Chapter 9 with Aerith, which I hated. It was so boring and unnecessary, and you have to do it too many times. Moving back to the positive though, there are even some fun sections where they combine the two main aspects of combat and traversal. These are 2 chapters that have you on a motorbike speeding down the highway whilst batting off enemies that come your way. These were both really cool. Final Fantasy VII Remake is a Japanese RPG, and so it would be amiss to not mention the mini-games. These are of course optional for the most part, but I actually got addicted to all of them and wanted to get the highest score. You'll be smashing boxes within a time limit, seeing if you can do more squats than the gym bros, seeing if you can do more pull-ups, battling in a coliseum, taking on combat challenges in VR, and becoming a darts champion. If you want to come out on top in any of these, you'll probably be doing them multiple times like I did, but because they are all fun, it gave me determination to go again and again until I got success. In addition to the mini-games, there are several side missions. Remake is a pretty linear game like I said, but there are some chapters that are based in the main towns where you can leave the main story for a bit and help the people of the slums. I played Final Fantasy XVI earlier this year, and easily the worst thing about that game was some of the side quests, which just felt like busy work. I don't think I felt that way for any of the side quests in 7 Remake. None of them outstay their welcome, and while they mostly just consist of fighting a mini-boss or finding a particular person, they all add to the world building. Then there are numerous collectibles to find if you want to. The main one of these are the music discs. There are 31 of these to find, and you can play them at any jukebox you discover in the world. Spoilers, the music in this game is incredible. Now, as this is the Intergrade version of the game, the other big part of the side content is the Yuffie DLC chapters, which are packaged in. There are 2 chapters here which took me 7 hours to complete. Yuffie has a completely different combat style to the other 4 from the base game. She is a ninja and fights with a combination of elemental and physical attacks. She is strong in both close quarters and at range, and uses her strong affinity for materia to have a wide range of abilities at her disposal. I honestly think I like fighting with Yuffie the most out of anyone. There is one other character in the party here, but you can't switch between them like in the base game, as Yuffie is the only playable character, but you can use synergy attacks instead. The Yuffie DLC comes with its own mini-games and collectibles too. These mini-games are considerably harder than the ones found in the base game, but even more addictive. The main one is a simulation of a tabletop game called Fort Condor. This is something of a Clash Royale type where you send units out onto the field with the aim of destroying your enemy's towers. It took me at least a couple of hours to beat the Grandmaster alone. Units can be bought or discovered out in the world, and it makes it feel like a well-rounded, fleshed out game within a game. The story of the Yuffie DLC runs alongside a main event in the base game, and you can see it unravel from a different perspective. The story as a whole for 7 Remake is excellent. It focuses on just the Midgard portion of the original 1997 game, where Cloud is a merc that sides with the eco group Avalanche to fight against the Shinra Electric Company. It is very much a story of the little guy standing up to the man, but it does take its twists and turns to reveal a new threat. The main standout by far though are the characters. Cloud is a brooding mercenary that seems to have little emotion, but his indifference is picked up greatly by Barrett, Tifa and Aerith, who are such an amazing party of personalities. I fell in love with all of them, and by the end I can say that I'm ride or die for these guys. We're a family now, and I can't wait to get back into this world with them when I play Rebirth. This first part really is just the setup for a grander scale epic adventure, but it does so well in world building and character introduction that I'll be thinking about it for a long time. The city of Midgard being a big metal plate in the sky looming over the slums of the ordinary people while sucking up the planet's natural resource, it's a creative dystopian society. There are emotional narrative beats, huge cinematic sequences, over-the-top evil characters, and a good helping of goofy dialogue which I adore. Even though this is only the start, it has become one of my favourite stories and worlds in gaming. Final Fantasy VII Remake already looked great when it released back in 2020 on the PS4, but this Intergrade version is the enhanced version that came later and really uses the power of current gen systems to look even better, not to mention the faster loading times. The rendered cutscenes are stunning as you would expect, but I was most impressed with the in-game visuals. Everything looks gorgeous, from the rugged feel of the Sector 7 slums, to the bright lights of War Market, to the high-tech sci-fi feel of Shinra HQ. Every locale had its own identity and looked great. Then there's the character designs. Our main squad of Cloud, Barrett, Tifa and Aerith are amazing, and even the facial animations are pretty good, which is something I can't say for Final Fantasy XVI. When you get a close-up on their faces and you can see the sparkle in their eye or their hair physics sitting just right, it does wow you. It doesn't stop at our heroes though. There are many side character designs that stick out as high quality. The likes of Don Corneo, Roach, Professor Hojo, Yuffie, Jessie, Madam M, Elmira, Sephiroth, even little Marlene, and the list could go on and on. 7 Remake has graphics options too if you want to choose between quality and performance. I personally always pick performance, especially for an action game, but it's nice to have options. There is a photo mode, but not one that's particularly extensive. You can move the camera around, add some filters, change the contrast and saturation, and that's about it. Overall, this is a beautiful game and really sets a new bar for this long-running series for its 3D titles. The audio doesn't stray too far from perfect either. All the voices are quality, and that filters down the tiers of characters too. From your heroes to your maniacal villains, even the likes of a goofy character like Johnny can bring you into the immersion with the character's voice performance. I don't know if there is an award for the most amount of unhinged evil laughing, but this game would be in the running for sure. Voices aside, where this game did win a lot of awards, and rightly so, is with the soundtrack. This soundtrack is sensational. There is a reason they do orchestral tours for this series, and the OST in this game in particular is really incredible. Even the title card track is soothing to listen to. There is a lot of range to accompany any scenario, whether it be the wacky electronic sounds of the dance-off or the breathtaking symphony of one winged angel in a certain boss fight. There can be a grandeur and elegance when the situation calls for it, but then there can be someone just absolutely shredding a guitar as you make a quick getaway on a motorbike. This is a soundtrack that you would put on every now and then just to listen to in awe and go on a journey. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade as a whole package is something I struggle to say much negative about. Yes, I thought there were too many repackaged enemies. Yes, I thought that the robot arm puzzle in Chapter 9 was bad. And yes, I think locking the harder difficulties behind completion is stupid. But ultimately, this was a game that I couldn't stop thinking about even when I stopped playing. The reason for that is down to the fun combat system packed full of variety, the gorgeous visuals, the scintillating soundtrack, the epic cinematic boss fights, an emotional story, a DLC that is excellent, and a main cast of characters that immersed me so much I felt like I was living alongside them on their journey. The fact that this masterpiece was created in 1997, I can only feel thankful that Square Enix decided to remake it, as it is now clear to me why this game is so special. This is only the first part of the story after all, and there is no doubt in my mind that Rebirth will be one of my next games to play, and that Part 3 is now one of my most anticipated games whenever that releases. But to score this game, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade gets a casual gamer score of 9 out of 10. If you like this review, then check my channel for all your gaming content needs. I have other reviews, quick looks of games, spoiler casts, showcase breakdowns, and game release calendars every month. Keep an eye out for my upcoming Pragmata quick look and review for Romeo is a Dead Man. If you want to support the channel, then please leave a like and subscribe, or if you don't like it, then leave a thumbs down and let me know how I can be better for you. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and for everything else, casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.